Hi, welcome to Divine Key Spiritual Chat. I'm Chris, and I'll be your host for this episode and all the other episodes, probably. So, in this episode, we are going to be talking about curses and spells and what they mean, and how they can show up, and what you can do about them if you actually need to do anything about them. So we are, as I'm recording this, we are midway through October, and the idea of spells and curses becomes more visible during the season of Halloween, um, and I just felt like it might be an interesting topic to explore. Now, I'm no expert on this at all, so I'm not saying that I know everything there is to know about it, but what you're going to get, and what you're going to get with everything in the Divine Key Spiritual Chat, is my point of view on it, my perspective, what I think. And you're welcome to leave a comment and agree or disagree, or tell me what your perspective is, because I'm interested. So let's get into it. When we talk about, well, I'm going to start with spells, because spells are something that you may not realize this, but you're probably doing it every day. Anytime that you do something in a certain way, because maybe you had good luck um, doing it that way, maybe you always um, wear a certain scarf when you go to a meeting, and your meetings go well, so therefore that scarf feels like it has the impact of helping you succeed in that meeting. Or you have a lucky t-shirt that you wear to your games because you seem to win every time that you wear that t-shirt. Those things are have the essence of spells embedded in them. So when we talk about spells, it is typically a human effort trying to coordinate variables to work out and bring them what they really want um, to occur, and not just have something random occur. Often, I will also refer to things that are spells um, as rituals, because it's something that you do in the same way every time, and so is a rituals. Is something that you do in the same way. So, a definition of a spell is a magical formula or ritual intended to create a supernatural effect, often by speaking an incantation. And yes, we use the word magic in association with that. And I actually have books, I have a couple books that talk about doing tarot spells. So using tarot. Um, let's back up a minute. Spells often use tools to help create the spell. So, and also spells are also tied to the thing you're trying to achieve. So there are things such as, love spells, money spells, wealth spells, health spells. Um, so those are things that you're trying to achieve. And then there's the things that you use to implement. So there's incantation spells, there are jar spells, there are coin spells, monthly spells, lunar spells, tarot spells, and sometimes there's a combination of some of those things all working together to create a spell. Um, spells can be used in a way for protection. So a spell that is set for protection is what I would call a ward, W-A-R-D. And that is a method to allow you to protect yourself or people you love or space that you're in from any negativity coming in. And um, I often, or it's been known to use, uh, like runes can be used to implement warding spells. Crystals definitely can be used to implement a warding spell. Then there are active spells to bring something to you, magnetic spells, which, love spells, money spells, those are things to bring things to you. There's also candle spells. Oh, forgot about that. So, if you, one of the ways you can do a money spell is to use candle magic. Um, Sometimes it is writing something down, say, on a piece of paper or a bay leaf, and then burning it. That would create a spell. So anything that you do to create something outside of the norm, it would be considered a spell. They're considered rituals, in my opinion, because you do them pretty much the same way every time. There are often set ways to do it. Um, they can be written out, uh, and there is an expected result if you do things the way that it's been spelled out to do them. Part of all of that is intent as well. So, what you intend is a big part of the spell making. Spells have the baggage of feeling like they're evil or bad or not good. But as in any tool that I talk about, it is only as good or bad as the person who is implementing the spell. So I would say that if I were to be casting spells, I would not wish that anyone is led to do anything against their will or against their nature. That would be part of what I would include because I don't feel I have the right to manipulate other people's energies in any way or even tap into them. But if I want to work a spell to, say, bring more money into my life, and I put together a jar that is abundance and I seal it with a particular candle wax, say green, and I use the rune that is the wealth rune as a stamp to stamp the wax, that would be a spell in my opinion, with the intention that more money would flow in my direction. So I'd be interested. Like, do you feel like spells are negative? Do you feel spells are bad and that you're evil if you talk about spells? Um, and then there's rituals. So that kind of goes along with lots of different things. Like, do you always sweep your front stoop on the first of the month uh, to clear out energy and bring in new energy? Do you clear your area by smudging with sage or palo santo or incense? Um, those are rituals, and they are also spells because as you are smudging, you are intending that the smoke carries the negative energy out of your space, and in sweeping the smoke out, the negativity goes with it, and you're intending that clear, positive energy comes in. So uh, it's funny because they're just words, and they mean what they mean in your mindset. So when you think about it, your intention kind of guides what happens with it. So that leads us to, well, from spells and rituals, things that we would do to bring positive things in. On the flip side, right, spells can be intended to cause harm, intended for negativity, and those would be called curses. And um, curses feel to me like they are vindictive and are in response to something. I don't know that I've ever heard of a curse just occurring or happening or being cast because someone just felt like doing it. It's usually because there's been an argument, or that someone feels wronged, or someone feels like they want to win at something or gain something that somebody else doesn't have. So, or to protect. Um, when I'm thinking that, I'm thinking of the pyramids and how, like, I've heard when I read about ancient Egypt, how the tombs can be cursed or might have been cursed. So that, and tomb robbers or anyone who breaks in to the tomb then has these things befall them that are not good for them, can be deadly even, or illness might befall them. And I don't have any specific examples right now that I've pulled out, but I think you know where I'm coming from. When you talk about something that is not for the highest good, that would be considered a curse. Now, I don't feel like rituals are curses. So, in my mind, rituals could go either way, I guess, but I typically think of rituals as something positive. Different cultures have different names for these. So, there could be things called hexes or jinxes or even charms. So, all of these are words that describe manipulating the energies in a way to arrive at a conclusion that you want. So, it's open to interpretation. Um, and then when you go into fiction, works of fiction, we also talk about spells and rituals there. Popular one would be if we talk about Harry Potter and the spells that they learned, and they needed to use their wand, which had magical properties, as well as their own intention and specific movements, as well as words to create a spell. And that might have some truth in that, or it may not. It really depends on your belief system. Uh, when you also, spells can be as simple as I want someone to stop bothering me, so I'm going to freeze them, and you basically write their name or put their picture in the freezer, like literally freeze them, so they can't interact with you. That's a simplification, but that's an idea of what we're talking about here. Um, Spells, curses, rituals, anything that you do the same way every time to institute a result that you're looking for would fall in that category. And the tools you use can be varied. Um, Other spells and curses I'm thinking pop into my mind are like voodoo and hoodoo, voodoo dolls, where you create an effigy of someone and then you create a spell and apply it to that figure, intending it for the person that it represents. And let's just for fun go down that path of having something like a stand in that you manipulate in some way. If you want to go down that path, then remote Reiki would be some kind of spell work. Because when you do remote Reiki healing, you are doing a spell of healing by using a stand in for the person that you're working with, because they're not physically in the room with you. So you are performing a series of movements, maybe words, symbols, manipulating energy from afar to create a result that you want. And in this case, the result would be healing in that person that is remote from you. So, remote Reiki is a spell. It has the components of what I consider a spell. So, what's your thoughts? What else is a spell in your life? Think about things that you do regularly. Are they rituals, spells? Are you attempting to manipulate energy to create a result that you're looking for? And if you are, then you are working with spells. Um, it's, you know, baking or cooking can be considered a spell. You are bringing together different ingredients and you're following a set steps on how to combine them, and you have an expectation at the end for a particular outcome. So you have flour, sugar, butter, eggs, vanilla, and you put them together in certain quantities and manipulate them in certain ways and put them in a hot oven, and you expect at the end to have a cake. And that is basically a spell. So, how does that change the way that you go about the way you see things? When you're cooking dinner for somebody, you are crafting a spell that that person is going to ingest. Is it any different than crafting a magic potion in Harry Potter world, where you combine ingredients and you manipulate them in some way, and you give it to the person to ingest, and then you expect a certain outcome? Um, think about that for a minute. You know, so many things in our life can fall into that category if you really think about it. So, open your eyes a bit, and that's what this is about. This podcast is all about just a different look on spiritual things. You know, chatting about what are the different views. I'd love to have some people tell me what they think, and see what other paths this can go down. So this was kind of an interesting, not very coherent spiritual chat, but I had set up to do some video with this, but um, technology was not being my friend today, so I shifted gears, and this is not quite exactly what I planned, but um, I wanted to put something out today. So I hope everyone uh, thinks about this topic and gives me feedback if they'd like. And ultimately, I hope that your week goes well. So be well. This is Chris from Divine Key. Until next time, bye.